Hello, I'm Noel Cronin, bidding you welcome to all you fans and supporters of classic film and television. I've been on the hunt for more rarities for you, and I think you'll be pleased with the results. Fans of performers such as Dorothy Squires and Jimmy Clitheroe certainly will be. Our premieres from the Children's Film Foundation may surprise you too, and we see the return of one of the greatest British classics. But first we meet a surprisingly dishevelled Vincent Price. The Last Man on Earth is a rarely seen sci-fi horror film based on Richard Matheson's novel I Am Legend. There have been other films based on the same book, but what makes this version the first, by the way, is the mesmerising presence of the great Vincent Price as Dr. Robert Morgan. The Last Man on Earth is set in 1968. But why, in not the too distant future, is Dr. Morgan the last man? We only have this internal monologue to tell us more, and it's all looking very bleak. But it's Vincent we're all here for, isn't it? And he's so good as the last man on Earth. To music and laughter now with Stars in Your Eyes, a gem from 1956. It stars rubber-faced comedian Nat Jackley alongside singers Pat Kirkwood and Dorothy Squires. Our story concerns a group of variety acts who band together to put on the best show ever. There are great songs from Kirkwood and Squires, as well as comedy from the likes of Jimmy Clitheroe. And Nat Jackley, despite being one of the country's top live comedians, made very few films. So this is a chance to see the great man at work. Don't miss Stars in Your Eyes, a real slice of entertainment history. We know how much you love anything from the Children's Film Foundation, and over the coming fortnight we premiere two more of their films. The Hostages stars Ray Barrett and Robin Asquith as two escaped convicts who hold three children hostage in a remote farmhouse. Made in 1975, this certainly sounds more adult than other CFF films we've shown before, but as ever, the children proved to be resourceful, ensuring those adult bad guys don't get away with it. The Hostages is a really well-made thriller, and the cast, adults and children alike, it's excellent. The Rescue Squad from 1963 sees yet more high-spirited kids embark on a series of adventures. Christopher Brett, Shirley J. and Malcolm Knight were the stars. The kids' toy plane gets stuck on top of an abandoned ancient tower, and they devise various madcap schemes to try and get it down. But why does one kid wander around with a tea chest on his head all the time? And what about that free jazz score? There's a touch of the surreal about the Rescue Squad, but it makes it all the more interesting. The Children's Film Foundation never fails to deliver well-constructed, well-acted entertainment, which both of our premieres prove. They're a real Saturday morning pictures treat. It's always a pleasure to hear from you, our viewers, via letter and email. But it was a particular joy here from Jill Fletcher, whose parents starred in a very rare film which we recently showed on the channel. Dear Noel, thank you for the pleasure you have given me the past few years, and a showing of A Piece of Cake starring my parents, Cyril Fletcher and Betty Astle. I have never seen it, as when it was first shown in the late 40s, I was only 4 years old and not a regular cinema goer. I am now approaching 80 and, like them, have been an entertainer all my life. I did 2 episodes of Dixon of Dock Green, but they were not among the ones you have found. Most of my career has been in theatre and cabaret. Please keep up the good work. Kind regards, Jill Fletcher. Well, that's fantastic. Cyril Fletcher, he was a household name, and what a treat that you've seen your mum and dad's work after all this time. We'll certainly play it again. Time now for a rollicking adventure from the US of A. But with its cars and its contemporary jazz rock soundtrack, it might surprise you to hear that the 1971's Powder Keg is actually a Western. It's set in the dying days of the Wild West and stars Rod Taylor, Dennis Cole and Fernando Lamas. Lamas is almost unrecognizable under that fulsome moustache, but he's just the right side of over the top as a bandit who holds a trainload of passengers hostage. As the train trundles on, two mercenaries are called in to rescue those on board. Star Rod Taylor was actually Australian by birth and had some success in his native land before moving to the US. Powder Keg is also a great standalone adventure film which builds to a thrilling climax. Finally, it's a return to a true British classic, starring a true British legend. And Inspector Calls is based on the play by J.B. Priestley. It stars Alistair Sim as Inspector Poole, who suddenly appears at the house of the wealthy but smug Burling family. A young woman has died and the inspector forces each family member to examine their role in her death. But is the inspector who he appears to be? Director Guy Hamilton pitches the pace and the tension perfectly. Hamilton would go on to direct 4 James Bond films in the 60s and 70s, a very different pace indeed. And Inspector Calls really is one of the classics of British cinema, and they certainly don't make them like Alistair Sim anymore, do they? I do hope you've enjoyed this insight in some of the great films and shows coming up on Talking Pictures TV in the next 2 weeks. I only wish I had time to tell you more, but I have to drive back into those vaults of rarities. If you want to know more about what's happening at Talking Pictures TV, why not subscribe to our weekly newsletter, which drops into your mailbox every Sunday. If you'd like to write to me, you can get in touch via email at noel@talkingpicturestv.co.uk. If you prefer to put pen to paper, the address to write to is Talking Pictures TV, P.O. Box 592, Kings Langley, Hertfordshire, WD4 4DB. Thanks for spending time with me. I look forward to welcoming you again soon and with more lost films, rarities and of course surprises. Take care until then.